Welcome back to B2B Blueprint, the video series that explores the strategies and tactics driving success in B2B marketing. Today, we're diving into a crucial aspect of Google Ads management, Match Type Leniency. In recent years, Google has become increasingly creative with how search terms match to keywords, regardless of their designated match types, which can lead to significant wasted ad spend. Today, we have our very own Associate Director of Paid Media, Sam Calhoun, here to explain what Google Ads Match Type Leniency is, why it's valuable to those of you growing your business, and how to manage it to avoid wasting ad spend. Hey, Sam.
Excited to be here, Matt.
We're excited to have you here. So let's get right into it. What is Google Ads Match Type Leniency?
Yeah, so Google and consequently Microsoft have both become a lot more creative in how search terms are matching to keywords regardless of their match types. Google is also pushing more broad batch adoption with claims that it'll be more efficient, that automation will take care of it for you, and that'll be better than exact or phrase keywords. There are a couple things that marketers can do to stay on top of search matching and avoid wasting spend. So first off is at least weekly, if not daily, be looking at search terms to see if there's any irrelevant traffic that needs to be negated, particularly for looser match types like phrase or broad. Relevant and converting traffic to add to your keyword list in an exact or maybe potentially phrase match type. Then also paying attention to what match types are matching to what search terms. I'll show an example of this later, but really we want to understand how close are these terms actually to the keywords that we want to be showing up for. And is that changing? Do we need to be changing our match type strategy? That kind of thing. We also need to be staying on top of Google matching news. I know recently or a while ago, they took away broad match modifier, keyword match types. So be in contact with your Google rep and also stay on top of industry news to see where match types are moving in the future. Many clients that I audit have a lot of the best practices checked off, but they're still wasting a lot of spend due to not diligently staying on top of keyword auditing. I've seen broad match traffic or even looser matching traffic handled quite inefficiently and make upwards of 30 to 40% of the account spend that could have been much better spent on exact or phrase keywords.
So could you go into a little bit more detail of how match type leniency works?
Yeah, for sure. Google is regularly changing the definitions of their match types and how lenient each of them are. Again, they're continuing to push advertisers toward broader match types for the sake of account simplicity and automation that more often than not leads to wasted ad spend in my experience. This direction opens up the possibility of a potentially all broad match feature for the engine. So shoring up these keyword strategies now for yourself will bear fruit in the long run. So one example of this, I found in 2022, I was noticing some inefficiencies for one of my clients, started digging into search terms and found that the exact match keyword for caregiver training requirements was showing up for search terms for how to become a caregiver. This is a software that is relevant for home healthcare agency owners, but not necessarily the caregivers because the agency owners are the people who are actually making this purchase. So we can see here that even in the exact match keyword, Google is trying to take the intent of the keyword and trying to match that to other search terms, even though the text itself is not necessarily matching up. This is something that I would have expected from definitely a broad match keyword in the past and maybe even a phrase match keyword, but definitely not an exact keyword. And it was in this moment where I kind of started to see that Google is becoming much more liberal in terms of how keyword match types are matching to their respective search terms. At Directive, our keyword strategy can be broken down into two parts, offensive and defensive. Offensively, many issues regarding match type leniency and matching to bad search terms can be avoided by choosing the right keywords and match types from the start. A few best practices include avoiding broad match entirely unless you're running a specific experiment, trying to do some keyword mining, and even then you have a limited budget and you have conversion-based bid strategies set up. Only using keywords with transactional or commercial intent for your business, because even if there is some keyword leniency for the match type, the specificity of the keyword will kind of rein in the amount of possible search terms you can show for. And then also using conversion-based bidding strategies whenever you can. That will also be a natural way for the campaign and the bid strategy itself to rein in any leniency that might lead to significant wasted ad spend. And then defensively, there always needs to be a strict cadence for catching search terms that are irrelevant, negating them, and making sure we're showing up for the highest quality traffic. So one client that we took over back in fall of last year, we saw had a wide range of keywords with a variety of intents. Here is an example of us showing to them how informational intent is very different than commercial and transactional intent. So if someone is searching for what is a recruiting software, they might be someone who is brand new to HR, brand new to recruiting. They aren't the right ICP for this particular client. And so showing that we need to be curated with our intent keywords is going to reduce a significant amount of wasted ad spend. We also did an audit to understand how keywords with qualifying terms such as tool, software, platform, etc., performed compared to keywords that didn't have these terms. Overall, we found that the average CPC for terms with a qualifier actually were lower than those without, had a higher conversion rate, and had about 2x better efficiency than these keywords without qualifying terms. We also found that phrase match keywords in non-branded campaigns were constantly pulling in branded traffic. Now, this makes sense. Google sees these phrase keywords as, oh, yeah, this branded term is also relevant for this. But we want to make sure we're giving this branded traffic the right attention it needs, the right ad copy, the right landing pages, etc. And so we weren't giving this traffic the right experience by having these non-branded keywords, landing pages, ad copy showing up on branded search terms. So there is a lot of keyword funneling cleanup that we could do as well. Finally, we compared exact and phrase match types and found a similar story as before, where there's a significant amount of cost going to phrase match keywords, but the efficiency of phrase match versus exact match keywords did not line up. And overall, they had a much higher CPC than exact match keywords as well.
So can you tell us how you measure and optimize performance of a strategy like this?
Totally. So since search term monitoring is a regular game of whack-a-mole, there's always going to be some waste. You can, however, measure spend that used to go to irrelevant search terms or less efficient match types, and then be able to back out into how much spend is now actually going to efficient keywords and match types. And so one quick audit that we always like to do is quickly seeing, okay, over the course of a certain period of time, how are these match types performing? So the same account before we came onto the account, about 40% of spend was going to phrase match keywords over the course of a 2-month time span. The CPCs were about 3 times that for exact match for exact match keywords, or for phrase match keywords. Not only that, the cost per conversion was double for phrase match keywords as they were for exact match keywords. So this led us to believe that we really needed to hone in our spend on what we could control a lot better for this particular instance, in addition to keyword funneling, making sure we were showing qualifying keywords as opposed to more informational intent keywords, that kind of thing. If we back into the last 2 full months of performance, we can see a very different story. So overall, the account cost per conversion has been cut in half. Not only that, phrase match keywords used to spend about 40% of the overall budget. Now we're at about 10%. CPCs are still about double as they are for exact match, and same with cost per conversion. However, compared to that 2-month time span in 2023, the cost per conversion has decreased from over 2,000 to under 1,400 for phrase match. So even then, we've still made significant gains in how efficient our phrase match keywords are by doing keyword auditing, doing search term auditing, and making sure that we're showing up for the right searches at the right time. So after we were able to have some time to implement the strategies for this client, looking at the previous quarter and the first quarter of our management, we were able to reduce our cost per SQL by about 40%. Not only that, we were able to grow our SQL numbers, both for Google and for Bing, for commercial and enterprise clients. So we had our cake and we ate it too by growing our volumes and improving our efficiencies quarter over quarter. And specifically in non-brand, because brand is always going to be pretty efficient, just kind of how it goes. But even for non-brand, we spent less money and got more ARR quarter over quarter. So our ARR ROAS improved from a 0.6 in quarter 3 to a 1.7 in quarter 4, just through utilizing these tactics.
So to our viewers, we highly encourage you to check out this tactic for match type leniency, being critical of the searches your keywords are showing for, and making the right keyword decisions to reduce wasted ad spend. And Sam, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us regarding match type leniency today.
No problem. Happy to share my knowledge and help all those B2B marketers out there.
Absolutely. So until next time, I'm Matthew Doyle, and this has been your B2B Blueprint. Bye, everyone.